Story 1. Why would you not say yes? The United States allows dual citizenship, and you will not lose your United States citizenship. This is because, regardless of where you live globally, you are required to report your global income to the Internal Revenue Service and any and all non-United States bank accounts you own. If there is no tax treaty between your country of residence and the United States, you must also pay United States taxes on that income. Story 2. I would take dual citizenship with Portugal in a heartbeat. Sane healthcare, walkable cities, pastel de nata on demand, and I would keep the United States passport for family and work flexibility. Story 3. My work has offered me a chance to move to Canada, but it would require a pay cut, and my wife would need to find a new job. We are strongly considering it. Story 4. A European country would be nice. Public transportation, healthcare, vacation hours, and quality education. Story 5. Not at the moment, but I could imagine a reality. If things keep getting worse, then I would consider it. This is my home, and I want to fight for it to become the best version of itself. I am not ready to give up on it yet. Story 6. Curious if those choosing any country in Europe have spent time in Europe other than vacation time. Story 7. Only if I can keep my United States citizenship, because I am still hoping America can be great again after we get rid of this disgraceful presidency. Story 8. I hate to say this, but no, this is not a run-and-avoid situation. This is about the elite versus the rest of the world, and the United States is the unfortunate battleground. If you think your country will not fall victim to increasing propaganda, consolidated and limited media, decreasing rules that were established to protect your citizens, and elected officials and judges who are ready to give away their power for profit, then just wait. Our elected officials sold their soul and country for a little bit of scraps. Yours will too unless you vote out politicians who can be bought, punish people who violate your laws, and protect the laws that protect you. Whatever happens here will undoubtedly happen in the next place where the rules do not apply to the rich. It is going to be a struggle here, and we need your global support because your country is next if the rulers are not put in check. Story 9. Canada, and if I could obtain dual citizenship, absolutely. Why wouldn't I? I live a 13-minute drive from the border. I could stay longer in one of my favorite places, and it could open more opportunities for me, for example, learning the Quebecois dialect of French at one of their government classes. I would love to now, but they are locked behind citizenship as far as I can tell. I would accept it in a heartbeat, perhaps even less time than that. Story 10. No. I will stay here and do my part to improve this country. Just because it is going downhill fast, I am not abandoning this ship. I suggest fighting for this country, not running away when things get difficult. Story 11. Sure, especially if there are no conditions and I can become a dual citizen. If I had to give up my American citizenship, it would be much more difficult since all my family lives in the United States. Story 12. No. I am an American for better or, as is currently the case, for worse. I still believe in our goal to form a more perfect union, and I want to be a part of that. Plus, all my belongings are here, and I hate moving. Story 13. No. The problems here in America were caused by us. We have a responsibility to the world to at least try to pull this country out of its tailspin. Leaving for another country would only leave fewer good people here. Story 14. Peace out. I would be off to any of the top 10 happiest countries. 1. Finland. 2. Denmark. 3. Iceland. 4. Sweden. 5. Netherlands. 6. Costa Rica. 7. Norway. 8. Luxembourg. 9. Australia. Story 15. I am staying right here. I will fight for my country. In doing so, I will fight for the world. A rogue, autocratic United States is a threat to the entire world. Better people than me have fought and died for this country. I cannot do much, but I will do what I can. I am not a coward. I do not want to shirk my ability to do what needs to be done. Story 16. Yes, this country is shameful. I feel nothing but disgust for our government and the people who put them in power. No hesitation. Story 17. No, I would rather have a few acres in the middle of nowhere, preferably in the mountains, where I do not have to talk to anyone else. Story 18. No, why would I? I would have no connection to that country, nor would I be accustomed to its culture. Story 19. I would accept an offer to relocate outside the United States. I am not sure where I would most likely go. I would guess either the Netherlands or Japan if I could learn a lot of Japanese. Story 20. I would take Norwegian citizenship, but how could I ever live there? Things are expensive, and Norway keeps the undesirable elements out anyway. Story 21. I have dual citizenship, Ireland and the United States of America. Ireland because my grandparents were born there. The United States of America because, well, just because. Story 22. No, I quite like it here. There is no other country that is better from my perspective. There are advantages in other countries, but they also have disadvantages. I will stay here, thank you very much. Story 23. There are some really powerful dual citizenships that allow you to travel to most of the world visa-free and live and work across multiple continents. If anyone knows how to start on that path, please let me know. Ireland is looking very attractive. Story 24. No. My family first stepped foot on this continent in 1690. My ancestors have fought in every single war from the American Revolutionary War to the Afghanistan War. I am an American, and I am not letting these sick people take the country I love. Story 25. Right now, I could not afford dialysis in Germany, and I would not want to be a drain on their economy. I should also state that I do not have a problem being an American. I would just like to live in Germany for a few years and attend university there. Story 26. Yes, and I would get out of here immediately. I hate worrying about being imprisoned without a trial. Story 27. I am happy with my citizenship, but Ireland would be tempting. I loved the land and the people I met. Norway was also wonderful. I liked Hungary a lot too, and Austria as well. There are not many places I have gone to that I would think, hell no. There are a couple, though. Story 28. Almost certainly. I would have to investigate all the advantages and disadvantages, but my country is deteriorating rapidly. If I could afford to relocate to a better place, it would be very appealing. Story 29. I would go to Canada. I love the country. It is beautiful, and I hear many wonderful stories from different people who are from there. Story 30. Yes. I am not going to say I will jump ship and run, but it would be nice to have the option. There are many wonderful places to live in the world, and being granted citizenship in one of them would provide great opportunities to explore at my own pace. Story 31. Yes, easy call. My choice is Switzerland, but I do not think I would turn down any Western Europe passport. Story 32. Yes, if nothing else, to secure a cheap and easy retirement. Work until I am 50 at my current job in the United States, then retire in a much cheaper country. Story 33. Yes. Full disclosure. I am already a dual citizen. I just have not yet gathered the funds or convinced my wife that it is the right time to proceed. Story 34. Yes, because our country is undergoing a partially violent coup from within, and I would appreciate political asylum. I do not feel particularly safe here. Story 35. Yes, I would take it even if it was someplace random. Even if it was or is someplace I had never considered going, as long as it is not someplace that hates women or wants to restrict their rights. That would be the only case where I would say no. Story 36. Nope. I've lived in 3 different countries. The United States of America has the most to offer. I would not leave here for anything. A long vacation, yes, but never permanently. Story 37. 100%. No question. If I had the money to leave right now and work on gaining citizenship in another country, I would. Story 38. Absolutely. Depending on which country, I would even give up my United States citizenship if required. I am in my mid-20s, and it feels like I have joined a game of Monopoly at the end. I grew up in poverty, got well educated, and gained work experience. Even the best jobs willing to hire me at mid-level roles do not pay enough to live in the cities where they are based. I am tired of being backstabbed by policy left and right, burnt out and depressed, but cannot afford to see my psychiatrist even with $400 a month insurance and hardly get any paid time off, let alone afford a vacation. even if it is just a couple of weeks with my motorcycle and camping. I do not care about gross domestic product, profits, or the best healthcare in the world. None of that matters when I feel like I am just going to collapse any day from being unable to get the professional or self-care I need. Anyway, rant over, too long. Did read. Yes, anywhere that has a healthier work-life balance and affordable, even if not the quickest, healthcare. Maybe Spain, as I have a friend there and know someone who owns some properties. Story 39. Yes. In human history, every nation that has become a world power has had its rise and then eventually a decline. Here in the United States of America, we hit the zenith somewhere around the 1960s. It hasn't been terrible at all since then, until the last several years. It is not a lack of love for my country. I am just observant, and I know that the rich are running things by lobbying for laws and votes in government to pass those laws. For example, in some states, if you do not have car insurance and have an accident, the insurance company, not the government, has the legal right to withhold your driver's license until the insurance company gets what it wants. Then the insurance company forces people to drive illegally in order to earn the money needed to pay the insurance company. The insurance company can relax, wait for money to come in, and charge interest in the meantime. Meanwhile, the driver is risking everything, their freedom, job, house, kids, to please an insurance company. That is not by the people, for the people. And that seems to be the new normal. Not by the people, not for the people. Notice that I did not capitalize people nowadays. It is time to start seriously considering what we want our grandchildren to be born into. Story 40. I would leave immediately to avoid another minute under the rule of Velveeta Voldemort. It is an utter embarrassment being from the United States now. Story 41. I think I would choose New Zealand or Australia at this point. They would be my top candidates due to language, landscapes, and decent governance. Story 42. Definitely. Why not have options? Also, even if the United States is able to get out from under this regime, I have profound concerns about actually being able to undo the amount of damage done in just the last 6 months to the infrastructure of the government, to our personal data and privacy, to the diplomatic and intelligence communities, to higher education, to our scientific scholarship, and to our international reputation. There is also the feeling I often have these days of not wanting to be in a country anymore with 77 million people who ever thought any of this was acceptable. Story 43. Absolutely. If I could become a citizen of the United Kingdom tomorrow, I would do it in a heartbeat. I would leave the suppressive environment and never look back. Story 44. Yes. I would move there and never come back. The United States of America has not been number one in quite some time now, and there are plenty of countries I would be proud to be a citizen of. Story 45. It would be pretty hard not to move to Italy. Low housing costs, strong family and cultural values, wine, cheese, and afternoon work breaks. Story 46. I would leave as quickly as it took me to renew my passport and book a one-way flight. After selling everything I cannot or do not plan to bring with me, I would renounce my United States of America citizenship and never look back as soon as possible. Of course, there are other steps in this process, but I digress. Living freely and feeling safe for the first time in my life would be a life-altering opportunity for me. Story 47. I would, as long as I had my choice. There are easily a dozen countries I would trade my citizenship for. There is not much reason for me to stay here besides my immediate family, so assuming they could also come with me, I would leave this place and never look back. Edit. As to why, I have a disease that will likely lead to significant disability at a younger age than most. My ability to work could be taken at any moment, and this country gives absolutely no consideration to the disabled, so goodbye. Story 48. I would like to have another country to go to until this difficult situation in the American political system resolves. Story 49. I would obtain citizenship in France, New Zealand, and Australia. My country is gone. We are not a white supremacist fascist government run by a vengeful, felonious idiot. Story 50. Yes. Yes, I would. If it was non-refundable, absolutely yes. Canada. New Zealand is a very close second. Both are very close to very dangerous territory. Story 51. Are you kidding? I would leave immediately. This is the worst industrialized country on the planet, and it is only getting worse. It has the worst healthcare system, which is slowly disappearing as hospitals close. Everything is becoming more expensive. Government officials are oppressing the population. Millions will face hunger as food assistance programs are removed. Story 52. Absolutely. That would be the actual restart button many of us are looking for. Here in the United States, if you get the chance to go to school, you have one opportunity, and you need to fit into that social mold. It is basically high school all over again, just in a work environment. If you make a mistake, you may end up working in customer service, unhappy with your life and those around you. Story 53. Yes, I would take it. The United States has been declining for some time now, and Donald Trump has accelerated that process. I am planning to move out of the United States when I retire, so the citizenship would be useful. Story 54. Here's my current list. Belize, 9, $2,000. Brazil, El Salvador. Guatemala, Nicaragua. Costa Rica, 3, $1,000. Panama, 4, $1,000. Uruguay, 10, $1,500. Latvia, Cyprus, Sri Lanka, Vietnam, Philippines, Georgia, Albania, 1 local agent. Mexico, 5. Ecuador, 7, $1,275. Portugal, 8, $1,000. Malaysia, 6, $2,500. Dominican Republic, 2, $1,500. Thailand, 1, $2,000. The numbers in parentheses are rankings, and the dollar amounts are the required monthly income to live there. This is a major problem since I work retail and am not old enough to collect Social Security. I am currently designing a new type of affordable housing that is truly affordable for someone working in the service sector. I am confident my original plans will work. I need a country that will accept me, an acre of land that costs several $1,000s, utility hookups, better healthcare than America, internet safety and stability. I want to renounce my citizenship immediately and never return to this country. Can deteriorate or worsen, I just want out. To meet the $1,000 monthly income requirement some countries demand, I hope to either offer my plans to their population for free as leverage, they will be copyrighted and never released in America, or crowdfund enough money from the country's population to last me until retirement. According to my calculations, I will need about $192,000 to cover expenses until age 67. I have seen people crowdfund for less important causes and raise more. I am offering a solution to the affordable housing crisis. I hope there is a country out there that wants it. Story 55. If offered, absolutely yes. There is no realistic support for parents in the United States unless you are born into wealth or have access to sufficient funds. Even then, the baseline of healthcare systems, despite some dedicated individuals working within them, is subpar and outdated. Story 56. Iceland is nice and cold. My husband likes cold places. I can learn Old Norse from the people because it still exists there. We also like the Northern Lights. Story 57. Somewhere with free college education and public healthcare would be nice. A place with cities, but also where you could be in a forest within an hour of the city. Lots of lakes and rivers are a must. I guess I could just stay in Minnesota. Story 58. Yes, most countries do not impose additional obligations just for being a national. The United States of America and Eritrea require the payment of taxes even if you are a tax resident abroad. Other countries require the completion of military service. It is best to avoid those countries. Story 59. I already have dual citizenship and can technically qualify for another. I would take another because why not? Now, if you have to renounce all others for this new one, then that is a whole separate discussion. Story 60. I would be interested in Icelandic or Swiss citizenship. I have been to both countries, and they were lovely and unique. I feel that people are in better moods there because of their surroundings and culture. Story 61. I would answer by asking, why did Albert Einstein leave Germany? The real lesson here is that no matter the form of government, its success or failure depends on the character of the people involved. Donald Trump is a sociopathic narcissist who feels no compassion, sympathy, or empathy for anyone. He makes virtues out of ignorance, stupidity, violence, and greed. He surrounds himself with irresponsible sycophants who produce dog and pony shows masquerading as cabinet meetings and press conferences but really only serve as testaments to his vain attempts at satisfying his insatiable appetite for self-aggrandizement and praise. He talks about himself in the third person. He is a convicted felon. He breaks the law every day. He has gone bankrupt 6 times. He is a serial liar. Combine all of that with his second-rate intellect and limited vocabulary, and the result is the most empty-headed, mean-spirited, and foolish thoughts and actions imaginable. Without a doubt, he is the most flawed public figure I have ever seen in my life, a bitter, miserable old man who lacks a single redeeming quality. Frankly, I do not understand how anyone can even stomach being in the same room with him. Story 62. Absolutely. I actually just got my dual citizenship in March, and I am incredibly proud. I will let you guess the country. Story 63. Because this is my country and I would rather die trying to purge it of the Make America Great Again filth trying to destroy it than abandon it to their whims. They need to leave. I am not going anywhere unless the orange leader catches me and deports me. Forget Trump. Forget Make America Great Again. This is a war for America, and I am not surrendering. Story 64. Yes. I am happy to pay more in taxes because I want my fellow citizens to have an actual education and healthcare. I want a government that does not actively try to manufacture evidence for the anti-vaccination movement. I want to live in a place where science and human rights are respected. I do not want to feel ashamed by the many citizens who are pro-pedophile, pro-genocide, pro-0.1%, pro-racist, pro-fascist, pro-disease, anti-science, anti-legal, anti-education, anti-lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and queer, anti-healthcare. So yes, give me a ticket out and I will take it. Story 65. Most likely if Japan did. I would love to live in Tokyo. Plus, Eastern girls are better than Western girls. Story 66. No. The United States is the best country. If it were not, there would not be an immigration crisis because so many people want to move here. Story 67. Do you think the Scottish people would accept me? I am 20% Scottish and prefer to drink single malt whiskey. Story 68. I was already born with United States and Polish citizenship, but I certainly would not say no to Norwegian or Swiss citizenship as well. New Zealand citizenship could be useful too. Story 69. Does it come with a job? Because that is what matters. I can live in a country without citizenship, but I cannot eat without a job. Story 70. Absolutely. Life here is too expensive, and conservatives have become more confident. I don't feel sure this democratic republic will endure. I would prefer to be elsewhere, preferably Europe or anywhere with socialized healthcare. Story 71. I would be willing to move to Sweden, New Zealand, Australia, Japan, Germany, or Canada. Story 72. Yes, but to be fair, I would say yes regardless of the current status of the country. Who does not want to be a dual citizen, even if they are happy with how things are? I guess I am not really understanding the exact sentiment of this question. Story 73. No. Because number 1, my family is here. Number 2, I feel relatively safe from the insanity in New York City where I live. Number 3, I am patriotic enough to fight for my country. Yes, because vacation. I would do Australia or maybe Panama. Story 74. No. This is my home. I don't like the way it is going, but I have to be willing to work to change it. Otherwise, what good am I? Why would another country want me? So I can leave there too when things go badly? You cannot always just leave and trust others to clean up the mess. Story 75. Yes, Canada. I have lived there before and am familiar with the culture. The landscapes are breathtaking, healthcare is decent, and hockey is always on at any bar. Story 76. This is Reddit. This is an unfair question, especially to those under 30 or so. Reddit users, especially Americans, think very unfavorably of the United States. You are not going to get informed opinions. Maybe ask white-collar Americans who have worked for a foreign company in Germany, France, the United Kingdom, Italy, Spain, Japan, or South Korea. Would you rather stay there or return to the United States if your position was exactly the same at the American firm or company? You would get a lot of people choosing the United States. Story 77. Yes, because I want a second passport in case I need to leave quickly. Preferably a passport with strong international privileges, such as Canada or a European Union country. Story 78. Absolutely. If money were not an issue and I could instantly obtain citizenship somewhere, I would leave immediately. Story 79. No. I chose to move here. In Europe, I would become even more of a minority and earn less. The United States is far better for Chinese people, in my opinion. Also, despite what Europeans say, I like Americans. They are cool people. Story 80. Careful people, who knows what the next move might be. You might get a wish you didn't really want. He obviously doesn't care about people's rights. Story 81. No. Leave the most diverse, freedom-loving country in the history of the world. Pass. Name a country more free and diverse than the United States of America. I can't wait till this gets downvoted. Freedom haters. Story 82. It would depend on how the wife feels about it because I am not going anywhere without her. But absolutely. Story 83. Waiting on my German citizenship by descent as a current United States citizen. Why? It requires a few hours of work and a few $100s to gain the ability to live, work, and travel freely in the European Union for myself and my children. Additionally, I travel internationally often, so it makes traveling to some countries easier visa-free compared to the United States passport. Story 84. My grandparents were born in Canada, and we have been actively trying to obtain citizenship. However, the documents from the 1930s were a bit disorganized. We are still trying. Story 85. Yes. I would move out immediately. I am so tired of fighting for the basic building blocks of an average life. I just want some peace. Story 86. United States of America. That is where I am from. That is what I know. Other countries seem to have the same potential for a good or bad life, whatever that means. Story 87. Not sure. I receive disability compensation from the Department of Veterans Affairs and have a pension coming from the United States Army. How those might be affected would be a big consideration. Assuming all would be well there, then there are a few countries I would consider moving to. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.